Good one tonight. Hey, welcome back to the Dutch and Denver podcast. I am Dutch, and I'm in or around Denver. Don't worry about it. You don't need to know where I'm at. Top fucking secret. We have insurrections to mount and crazy shit to do. If you guys, the intro is super messed up, but I don't think anyone was watching, so it doesn't matter. We'll edit that out. Actually, no, we won't. We'll just post it like that because we don't have an editor yet. We're not rich and famous. Lots to talk about tonight. I don't know if we're gonna get it all in because I'd like to play some games tonight. Have blast on Halo last night, so yeah. We'll see what happens, man. You never know. Should we start with fun or shitty? But fun is shitty, and shitty is fun. Where do you guys want to start? Last week's was live, but it wasn't posted. I will post it for the iTunes people and everyone else who watches that way or listens that way. But the weeks before, like, we're a week behind. Okay. So at some point you're going to get two, like, bam, bam. And you'll be grateful for it. Shit. What do you want to start with? Okay. You know, what we're going to do is we're going to go straight into the Twitterverse because I keep forgetting to do tweets. And these all fall under stupid tweets, but they'll branch off into other shit. Okay? Some of it's going to be rapid fire, some of it's not. I don't know if I talked about this last week, but there is a liberal in San Francisco that is, they're really close to getting it, but not quite. So she has a ridiculously epic Twitter thread, okay? A lot of tweets. But she's wondering why San Francisco claims to be so progressive and awesome when it's a goddamn shithole. Essentially, okay? And she's getting so close to it. Like, so close to understanding what liberals do, but she's just not quite there. So I'm going to retweet it right now. And you guys can go read it. But she's so close to, like, getting it that liberals don't actually help. They just make things so unbelievably bad. And then they promise, oh, we'll fix this. And people are stupid. So like, okay, let us know. And it never gets any better. But she's close. Because she wonders, like, wait a minute, we have all this money and we're the most progressive city in the world, but it's the shittiest city in the world. Like, what the fuck's going on here? So yeah, she's close, but not quite. Okay, the other thing. R.I.P. Bella at Vegan in English. Jesus Christ. And her tweet reads, all these delusional Bronco fans are hilarious. It's only been 6 years since their team won a Super Bowl, and they're talking about being tired and numb. What a spoiled fan base you are. All right, so a couple things here. As you know, I don't pay that close attention to the NFL anymore because I don't give a fuck about your woke stuff. Secondly, yeah, we're a franchise who expects to be competitive and win. For 6 years, we have been the most uncompetitive and disgraceful team in the NFL, maybe minus the Lions. So, R.I.P. Bella, you're a moron. Moving on from the San Francisco Chronicle. 2 Central Valley middle school teachers talked publicly on the challenges of running a gay-straight alliance in a socially conservative community. When their presentation was leaked, the district was thrown into turmoil and their program shut down. Okay, so let's be clear about a couple things. I've read the article. You can too. Doesn't matter though. It wasn't a gay straight alliance. It was pure and utter propaganda. And the first of this is a goddamn lie. Because in my day, the local public high school, which maybe I wasn't part of, maybe I was, you never know. I'm an anomaly. Okay, but I wasn't. But that's not the point. Had an LGB alliance, a gay straight alliance club. We're all conservatives here. They had no fucking problems. It was an after school thing. There was a couple of weirdos in there. That was it. There was no pushback. There was no nothing. There was a teacher who headed it. It was totally fine. This is a fucking lie. Oh, excuse me. This is a fucking lie, especially in California. It's what the actual gay straight alliance was like brainwashing your kids into being a wacko. Okay, so it wasn't a gay straight alliance club. It was a propaganda nonsense. Now we come into a little bit of substance. There's this one's from Not the Bee, but basically it's a Twitter thread of a moron, a pair of morons who are, well, let me just read the headline. It explains some of it. This is the Not the Bees headline, and then I'll read the rest of it. But read along in this gape-jawed wonder as a university professor explains how it makes perfect sense for you to pay off student loans his wife took out to get her doctorate. So, in long story short, the article is about how this couple's student loan debt was forgiven for their like 4 degrees each. I think they actually only have 3 by the university, not by the government, and how it saved their lives. All the while, they are making a bunch of money and they own a home and all this, but they still didn't have to pay back the debt. So that's going to bring me to our first in-depth topic. I am 100% adamantly opposed to student loan debt forgiveness or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Let me explain why. All of these debts were taken on willingly and contractually. And that's it. That is the argument. Every single one of these people agreed to take a loan out and agreed to pay the money back. That's it. That's the argument. If you sign on the dotted line and say, I'm going to borrow X dollars and I'm going to pay it back at X percent, you pay the money the fuck back. That's it. That's all. That's it. That's the argument. I don't give a shit if you spent $100,000 on a dumbass degree and now you can't pay your student loan debt because, lo and behold, nobody wants a gender studies major, managing their company. That's your fault because you're a moron. But you still agreed to pay the money back. So guess what? Pay the money back, you dumb bitch. I mean, think about it. It's basically an auto loan. Okay? If you were stupid and bought a Hummer and that car is essentially useless and costs you more money than it's worth, be smarter. I mean, should we start forgiving auto loans? Should we start forgiving mortgage loans? Credit card debt? I mean, it's all debt, and every single person who has debt agreed to even if you went to a loan shark, man, it was like, hey, I need like 10K large in cash. The loan shark was like, okay, but I need the money back next month and I need 30% interest. And you said, okay. And you didn't pay that back and he broke your knees and maybe killed you. But you agreed to it. No one forced you to take out that loan. Well, but you have to have a code. No, you don't. Dirty Jobs. Oh, guys, awesome. Greatest night of my life. Dirty Jobs is back. Like, new seasons of Dirty Jobs. The greatest show ever made is back. And, it just so happens Mike was working with a bunch of rebar guys. And one of them was like a high school dude, a high school kid, not a kid, but he only graduated high school, and he runs this company, and they did like 17 million last year. So you don't need a college education. I'm not saying don't get one. I'm not saying get one. All I'm saying is the principal fact here is you agreed to borrow money and pay it back with interest, and that's how borrowing money works. I don't know if you're not that smart, and if you weren't smart enough to know that, you probably should have done it. And if you did do it and you weren't smart enough, well, lesson learned, pay your fucking money back. Because you can't just forgive it. Let's be clear about that. Because a whole bunch of student debt is through the government. And if I forgive Billy's student debt, let's say Billy owes 50 grand in student loans that the government facilitated. The government gave that college 50 grand. Billy got his degree, and that's it. Billy may not have to pay the money back, but I do. And every other taxpayer in the world has to pay Billy's debt back because Billy was a dumbass and got a stupid degree or agreed to something that he couldn't pay back, which isn't my fault, which isn't any other taxpayer's fault. So let's stop with this student loan bullshit. You agreed to pay it back. Pay it back. That's it. Shut the fuck up. Pay it back. And if you voted for Biden on the premise that he was going to forgive student loan debt, you're a fucking moron. You are an absolute fucking moron, and I don't understand how you have college debt because you probably didn't get through college because you're that unbelievably stupid. And if you believed him and if you actually intended it, then you're both fucking morons because I'm not paying for you to go to school, you dumb bitch. You took the money out, you pay it back. Shut the hell up. I'm done listening to this. Moving on. So CNN has finally, after 2 years, come around to what I've been saying for 2 years and what every other person who's not mentally fucking retarded has been saying for 2 years. And this is what CNN tweets. People who are overweight or obese are at a much higher risk of much more severe disease and even death from COVID-19. Ooh, excuse me. And one new study suggests that losing weight can reduce that risk. So let's click on this. Let's find the actual tweet. And let's read the comments because those will be the most fun you've ever heard in your life. So forever, normal, rational thinking people have said, hey, COVID's not that bad unless you have comorbidities, pre-existing conditions. You're fat, you're old, you can't breathe, things like that. Well, if you're fat, a respiratory disease will absolutely affect you because you have an extra 200 pounds on your chest every night when you lay down. If you're old, yeah, you're more susceptible to things. I'm sorry, but that's just the way that it works. And if you have a respiratory issue like asthma or something, of course you're going to be more vulnerable to a respiratory disease. And I'm not entirely sure about this, but I'm pretty sure. I don't think anyone just died of COVID. Like, no healthy person got COVID and fucking just. One or two might have, but those are outliers and you can't really include them in your graphs. If you ever took middle school fucking math, you would understand that. Most of the people that died of COVID did not die of COVID. They died with COVID from being a fat person who a respiratory illness affected them. Or you were 90. Pneumonia kills people who are 90. It does not kill people who are 25. Same thing. Pneumonia doesn't really affect people who don't have asthma. If you have a respiratory issue, pneumonia is probably going to hit you pretty hard. Same with COVID. So CNN is just getting around to saying that, that fat people are at a higher risk. Well, no shit. Fat people are at a higher risk for everything. Fat isn't beautiful. It's not healthy. It's not. Get over it. Stop pushing this crap on people. I digress, though. Here come the comments. And I might have to. Well, this idiot. Nope, he's gone. Okay, but yeah, I mean, I can't go through these. This is actually what's happening. Okay, like it's bad if you're fat. Most things are bad if you're fat. Exercise is bad if you're fat. Cholesterol, all that shit is bad if you're fat and overweight. So lose some fucking pounds, man. Now, I'm not saying thick is bad. I like thick sometimes. But fat is unhealthy. Okay? So quit being unhealthy and COVID won't fucking kill you. Jesus Christ. And the point is that CNN is just getting around to this. And I think today they said something about like cloth masks don't work. No fucking shit. We've all been saying this. And a couple months ago, if I had tweeted that out, I wouldn't have been banned because I don't have a huge Twitter account. But if someone with a big Twitter account said that, they would have been banned. Or on Facebook, they would have been banned. Okay, so that brings me to something else. Like this week, some Congresswoman Green was banned on Twitter. I'm torn on this a little bit, okay? Because technically Twitter's a private company. They do whatever the fuck they want. And I'll defend their right to the death to do that. But also, if the government is protecting Twitter under like 230, I think it is, or maybe like 203 section, I don't know. It just doesn't. Okay, Twitter is and I don't know if it says this or the other, but Twitter is either a publishing platform that publishes everything and they're responsible for nothing published on their site, or they can censor what's published, but then they're responsible for what's published. You can't have it both ways. It's one or the other. So, for instance, I'm assuming that they're not responsible for anything, but they have a political agenda, so they do what they want. Fine. Fucking let them. Okay? The problem with the GOP or the Republicans or the conservatives, whatever you want to call them, is that all you do is bitch. You don't actually do anything. You're like, oh my God, she got banned, blah, blah, blah. But I'm posting about it on Twitter. And so stop fucking using Twitter. If you're that upset about it, stop using Twitter. Make your own platform. Now, I know it's hard to do that when the liberal government and Twitter are working together, which is blatantly unconstitutional. Like, the government can't ask a private corporation to do something that the government can't do. So, like, the government can't censor you. There's freedom of speech. And the government can't ask Twitter to censor freedom of speech on their behalf. But they do, and that's what Twitter does. And again, nothing's being done about it. You're all still on Twitter. I'm still on Twitter. Follow me at Dutch Beast, at Dutch in Denver, no I. But they're a private company. They do whatever the fuck they want. So either stop using Twitter or come up with a new platform to replace Twitter. Or your third option is shut the fuck up. Oh, Dutch, they're too big to beat. Yeah, vote for new people. Like, I don't know what to tell you guys. This is all solvable. You just won't do it because you're a Republican and you're a spineless piece of shit. And most Republicans are. Like, most of our elected Republicans are spineless pussies who just get up there and complain. And I've talked to my brother about this a little bit. A lot of even the talking heads for our side, like the right, I also think is a little bit guilty of this. Like, just for example, like Ben Shapiro. Okay. Very, very, very smart man. But is Ben really changing anyone's opinion? Like, is he taking votes away from the left and bringing them to the right? If he is, great. I'm not sure he is. So again, I mean, you can. It's like this podcast. I can talk until I'm blue in the face, but nobody's listening. I, it's just that is the problem with the GOP. There's no action. There's literally Twitter runs the world, and the GOP is just like, oh, they cry foul, but they don't do anything about it. And then they'll be like, okay, but we did start another platform, and then Amazon Web Services destroyed it. Okay, yeah, because you've let the liberals control Amazon Web Services, and then they control the world, and yeah, you're fucked. Do better. Have a red wave and destroy the Democrats and implement some. Actually, you know what? I'm not. Yeah, Amazon may need to have a little bit of look at about antitrust because I mean they do basically run the internet, which I'm never for regulation unless it's antitrust stuff, which you might want to take a look at that. And no, Biden, we're not going to look at things about the beef prices and stuff because you're just so fucking out of touch with this. If you don't know what I'm talking about, read a book. Okay, but I mean, this is all preventable, or maybe not preventable because it's already happened. But this is all you can deal with it, and you can mitigate this, and you can fix this. But you have to get out there and you have to vote for people who are going to fix it. And the GOP won't do that because they're a bunch of spineless little pussies. I mean, fuck, we're still talking about January 6th like it's an anniversary. And people it wasn't an insurrection. It wasn't a coup. It wasn't any of that stuff. It was just a riot that got out of hand. Okay? Like every other BLM riot. The only difference is the people that are in control support BLM so they don't get prosecuted. And the people who are in control hate the conservatives, so they get prosecuted. You're all stupid. This wasn't an insurrection. You don't even know what that is. You just say dumb things for attention on Twitter or Facebook or wherever the fuck you are. And so tomorrow it'll be a big deal. And people are like, oh my god, it's never been. Just don't. No, man, you had some idiots break into the Capitol, which is a people building. So, part of me says, hey, if these guys aren't really, even the Republicans, like, if I voted for you and you're like, hey, dude, I'm going to fix this, and you're not fixing that, I should be able to go up there and kick your ass and be like, what the fuck, man? I know it's a little drastic, and they went places that they shouldn't have gone. Okay, you don't go into people's offices and stuff. So yeah, nail them to the wall. But you should also find all those BLM fucks who burned down federal courthouses, buildings, all that stuff, and nail their asses to the wall. But it won't happen because the liberals are in control and they allow that to happen. And the GOP is a bunch of spineless fucking pussies, as always. Dicks. What else we have in the Oh, so this is kind of funny. We'll get back to COVID in a little bit because again, COVID's over. Fucking find something else to be scared of. So, your vice president Kamala Harris, she's literally a fence post. She's just so over her head and so stupid. It's not even funny. So the other day she tweeted, this was on January 4th. She's like, "Hey, because of the bipartisan infrastructure law, America is moving again. That's what infrastructure is all about, getting people moving." People are like, okay, innocent tweet. Well, that was the same day that the Virginia highway was like shut down because of snow and people were trapped for like 25, 30 hours. Just bad timing. That's basically her whole life. Bad fucking timing. I guess she didn't blow somebody to delete that tweet or redact it. It's funny. It's funny, but it's not. Like these people are just nuts. Let's see. Okay, so back to like the COVID, the CNN, the mask thing, and all that. Joe Rogan had a doctor on who, in the '80s, contributed. He was a big part of the RNA stuff that we're using for these vaccines. And again, if you don't know about this stuff, shut the fuck up. Okay, take your stupid mask off. Have your 7 vaccines. I don't think it's clearly it's not as effective as everyone says because we're having breakthroughs all over the world, and people are like, yeah, but they're not that bad. Okay, a little serious time here. Um, my group of people, which is somewhat large, somewhat little, like friends, family, everything. I don't know anyone who has actually gotten COVID. Like people say they did, like, oh, I tested positive on my home test. That doesn't count. Okay. I don't know anybody who's been hospitalized for it, and people are like, well, Dutch, you're lucky. Maybe I am. But there's a significant portion who are vaccinated and a significant portion who are unvaccinated. And we made it through the whole pandemic without anybody getting deathly ill or fucking dying or anything like that. So, I mean, follow the science. No, follow the science when it's not made up by the CDC or the Democrats. But also, like, I'm a big eye test guy. Like, what I see is, what I know. And I haven't seen it at all affect anybody. So, yeah, I don't give a shit. I'm sorry, but it's over. Find something else to be scared about. Code's over. Find something else to be scared about. I don't want to hear about it anymore. But the point is that Joe Rogan had this doctor on who, in the '80s, contributed significantly to the mRNA like theories and the way of doing vaccines and just the mRNA science. Okay. And this guy went on, and I think this was this guy, might have been another one, but they've both been banned on Twitter and blocked and blah, blah, YouTube, all that. But this guy went on to talk about like mass formation psychosis, which he compared to 1930s Germany. And I'm intentionally omitting the N word because I believe that you'll lose some people on that, but it's important to understand that. And this has been said by many people. I'm just repeating it in case someone doesn't listen. So this is not my original thought on this specific blurb. But you had a very highly intelligent civilization or country, which we do have, who went batshit fucking crazy. That's absolutely what happened in late 1930s, early 1940s Germany, early 1930s too. Okay, you had a very intelligent country go absolutely fucking crazy. Okay, and you know why they went or what the result of them going absolutely fucking crazy was. Okay, we don't have to get into that because again, I think that turns people off when you. I always thought when people compare Trump to Hitler, A, you're the dumbest person on the face of this planet, and B, I don't listen to you anymore when you bring that up because there is no atrocity. Okay, there are few atrocities worse than that. Stalin was pretty fucking bad. That guy was a piece of shit too. Okay, but you had a highly developed, highly intelligent country go completely batshit fucking crazy for a lot of reasons. And that's what's happened in America is we have don't get me wrong, we have a very smart country. Like there's only one flag on the moon, man. And that's the United States of America's flag. Okay? There's only one country that dropped nuclear or atomic weapons. Okay, that's us. And now I know the nuclear bombs were bad, but they were also good if you really think about it in the long run, and we can discuss that later. But the intelligence quotient of America is astronomical. We are the best country in this world. And we used to be the smartest, okay? But we have gone absolutely upside down, batshit fucking crazy over COVID. Yeah, I mean, and um, my opinion in short was it was to get rid of Trump, but you know, it snowballed from there. And again, like CNN is just now getting around, and this is where a bunch of wackos get their news from. To getting around to saying the fucking obvious, which they've known since day goddamn one. It just didn't fit the narrative. Okay, and like there's some things that allow this to happen is you got to convince a lot of people that there's a bad thing and that only me, you, them, the group, the cabal can right this bad thing. And normally people are like, well, I don't think so. But then you introduced like anxiety that is like intangible. So there's not really like a thing for you to put it on and be like, I'm anxious about my job interview tomorrow. And there's solutions to fix that. But if you don't really know what you're anxious about because what's happening doesn't make sense, like, yeah, I mean, you should be a little bit anxious about like the first day of school, first day of a new job, a job interview. That's normal because that makes sense. But if people are like, you should be fucking terrified of this thing that's not scary at all, and they lie to you about it, then yeah, you be kind of like, wait a minute, I'm really scared, but I don't know why. Like it logically doesn't make sense for me to be scared about this, but I'm terrified because they keep telling me all this stuff that's illogical, but they keep saying it, so I'm stupid and it's got to be right. And then they can control you. And I mean, perfect example, like CNN. I mean, everyone is coming out now saying, "Hey, there's nothing the federal government can do about COVID. It's a states thing." I hate to fucking break it to you, but Donald Trump said that from like day one. Everyone has said that. Uh, Fauci's coming out and be like, it's now kind of just like the common cold. Yeah, everyone's been saying that since day fucking one. And my point is like in the face of like facts, actual real facts, not like what CDC or CNN, because CNN doesn't say anything that's true. I'm sorry, and if you still watch that, you're stupid. Well, I mean, you can watch it, just don't believe it. But like, there are people who are so terrified of COVID because, I mean, the government told them it was scary and they're dumb and they went on it on their own. But they're so scared of COVID that in in the face of blatant facts, they won't change their mind. And that is the like that mass psychosis that everyone's talking about. I mean, I would say teachers unions, but no, they're using it for a different reason we'll get to. But I mean, there are people that still believe that their knitted, bejeweled masks are doing fucking anything. There are people that actually believe that masks are still doing anything when, and follow the science, they don't do anything. There are still people that believe the the COVID shot works. And it might work to a degree, but it's not a vaccine. Like when I got the polio vaccine, I'm not getting fucking polio. There's no like breakthrough polio cases, and maybe there's 10 out of the whole fucking world. It doesn't matter. Okay. I also don't need like 14 polio booster shots. It's an actual vaccine. This is a shot like the flu shot. Okay. And I don't know if you know how the flu shot works, but what they do is a group gets together and they're like, okay, so there's like 1,000 strains of the flu, of influenza. And we'll just say like numbers 1 through 1,000. There's influenza one, two, three, four, all the way to 1,000. And at the beginning of each flu season, or like before it, doesn't matter, a group of experts get together and be like, okay, this is going to be the most prominent flu strain this year. 4, 500, 1,000, and 1. Those are the 4 prominent ones that it's going to be. So they put together a dose that will help you stave off and make the symptoms and all that less severe of those 4 flus. Now, if you're so unlucky that you get like influenza 22, which isn't in the flu shot, you're going to be sick as fuck. You might even die from it if you're fat, old, you have, and I'm not hating on old people. Fat people, yeah, lose some fucking weight. Like, and I mean, I'm talking like obese, morbidly obese. You're unhealthy. Get it the fuck together. Okay. Well, bitch, I have an issue. Okay. Get it the fuck together. And if you want to send the hate, the socials are up here. Okay. I'm not gonna do this anymore. This is stupid. Okay, so and they put all these together and they put it in the flu shot and they give it to people. So now you're gonna have less severe symptoms if you catch the most common strains of influenza. Now, again, if you catch like strain 22, you're fucked. It is not going to be fun for you. It probably will kill you. You're just going to get really sick and stuff. But it's not a vaccine. Just like the COVID shot, it's not a vaccine. It lessens the effects of the virus, okay? So yeah, instead of being sick for 10 days, you're probably only going to be sick for 2, and you may not be that sick. But there's also people who have natural immunity, which is far more fucking powerful than anything that we came up with. Trust me. Like, I'm not a religious nut, but I mean, God's got this fucking nailed down to a T, okay? Your natural immunity is much better than anything a science lab can come up with. Or if you had COVID previously, your natural immunity and antibodies is much, much better than any vaccine or shot, whatever you want to call it. But there are people that actually believe that this is the only way to be, and that is mass formation psychosis. There are people that believe you have to wear a mask everywhere, and they want to do it. Like, the mask is the new MAGA hat for the left. Like, if you're in your car alone wearing a mask, you're a fucking idiot. That's all there is to that. I mean, if you're still wearing a mask and you're not a surgeon in surgery, you're an idiot. They don't work. They're not doing anything. I mean, we're vaccinated enough. Okay, they keep moving the goalposts, but it's just this mass psychosis that it's like, hey, no matter what anyone tells you, you're still so ingrained in this fear and this way of thinking that it will never change. And now we're completely fucked. We've gone batshit crazy. Absolutely batshit crazy. Moving on. What are we gonna do? We'll get to the fun stuff. Like, okay, so the teachers union is not part of this. The Chicago's teacher union is going back to virtual learning, because they're anxious, or who fuck cares? Fuck teachers and their unions. I'm sorry, man. I know there are some good teachers out there, but you guys just don't want to work anymore, and you still want to get paid, and it's dumb. And shut the fuck up and get back to work. Okay. You're all vaccinated, and the kids are not going to give the kids COVID, and no kid's going to get harmed from it. Okay. Now, if you're worried that the kid's going to give you COVID, okay, but you're vaccinated, so you shouldn't worry about it. Yeah, shut the fuck up. No more. So, because the Chicago's teachers union, Chicago public schools, they voted to go back to in-person learning. And God, this pains me to say this. But Chicago's cracked out governor, Lori Lightfoot, we all know the one. Like, she's fucking crazy. She actually did something today that redeems her just a little bit. And she announced and says, okay, get your ass back to work tomorrow, or you will be acknowledged as on leave with no pay. And this is okay. So this is me being bipartisan. Bravo to Lori Lightfoot. And I don't think you'd ever hear me say that in your wildest fucking dreams. I am praising a radical liberal for something they did. I support her 100. Let me find this and write this down. 100% on that. Okay, get your ass back to work, or you're on leave without pay. The kind, I mean, and I hate to compare these two, but it was like Reagan-esque when they had the when he had the air traffic controllers. He's like, hey, you go the fuck back to work tomorrow, or consider yourself terminated. You have no job. She didn't go that far. But I'm not saying she should have. I applaud her for what she did today. And even the Democrats, they're cannibalizing themselves on it, and I fucking love it. It is hilarious to watch them do this because the Republicans do it all too often. But tons of, even that crazy bitch AOC is saying, yeah, kids need to have in-person learning. Oh, that's the other thing. It's not called in-person learning. It's called fucking school. That's it. Because nobody is virtually learning. I heard today some statistic like when they had the virtual learning, the at-home learning or whatever in Chicago, like 55% of the kids, 55% of the kids just never fucking signed on. Okay, none. So yeah, pretty goddamn stupid. But I applaud Lori Lightfoot for that. Good job. I hope you stick to it. Let's see. What else do we have? Okay, one more serious thing. Two more. Okay, so everyone's going to Florida for their vacations, like AOC, and she made some weird sexual thing comment. We'll talk about that later. I'm not getting in that night, but it's funny how these people like bash Florida and be like, "Oh my god, it's a death state." No, oh god, but then they go to their vacation because there's no restrictions. I mean, it's laughable to me, but again, that's what the Democrats do. And if you're still a Democrat, I fucking can't help you because you're a special kind of stupid. Like, this isn't even fun anymore. This is just dumb. Okay. What else? Let's see what our notes say. Oh, okay. So the alphabet community, you know, like LBGQTWXYZ, whatever. I've thought about this. Some other people have touched on it, so I'm not the only one. But, and hear me out. And again, if you want to send the hate, it's there. You just don't have the guts to, because you know I'm right. I think the I won't say, yeah, I'm gonna say normal because I'm gonna rope gay and lesbian in with normal. Okay, so the normal heterosexual, the gays and lesbians, and the bisexuals should be absolutely over the moon pissed off about this movement with transgender and saying like there's no difference between a man and a woman and male and female is just like a social construct. And let me explain. Not only is that crazy because you have X and Y chromosomes that just kind of like prove my point for me. Okay. But if you really think about it, and let's think about this hard. So what the psychos want you to believe is that there's no such thing as male or female or anything like that. It's just a social construct. Well, if there's actually no such thing as male or female, you can't actually be gay or a lesbian because, a gay person or a gay man likes men. But if there's no difference between men and women, or there's not a thing, there's not a gender of male and female, then you're not a male who likes male. You're just a person who likes another person. So your whole identity as gay has been stripped away from you. Same with lesbians. You don't like women. You're not a woman who's sexually attracted to women. You're just a person who's attracted to other people. So your whole identity is gone from you. And I'm not saying that that defines them 100%, but it's a big part because we do have the alphabet community like LG, yeah, lesbian, gay, LGB, lesbian, gay, bi. Also, you can't be bisexual because that's not a thing. Men and women aren't a thing, so you can't like men and women. You just like people. So you're basically like everyone else. So if there is actually no difference between men and women, and you can have a male pretend to be a female swimmer, and you can have a tranny on Jeopardy and all that, I mean, there is no man and woman anymore. So you're not gay, you're not lesbian, you're not straight, you're not bi, you're none of this. You're not even trans. Do you understand like the argument here? You can't be this stuff because there's no difference. If they're all the same, if everyone's the same, gender wise or sexual, whatever the fuck you want to call it, you can't be gay or a lesbian or straight or bi or any of that. So I want you to think about that. And I know you'll make the liberals and will make some mental like gymnastics to explain this away, but you can't. That is the mass psychosis because it's not only COVID, it is just this bullshit. So you have to admit, for there to be gays to exist, you have to admit that there's a difference between men and women. Because if you're a gay man, you like men. You're a man who likes men. But if there's no such thing as men or males, you're not gay. You're just a person who likes people sexually. Kind of stupid, huh? Yeah, see? Nailed it. Hey, whoever this guy is who just showed up in the chat, you're getting reported for I don't know what because I don't speak Russian. Actually, let's. Yeah, if you're listening, I don't speak Russian, so yeah, the other Lucia Bula, I don't speak any of that crap. I don't know what you're spamming the chat with, but who gives a shit? Okay, last thing, college football playoffs. I told you so. That's it. I told you so. Like, okay, so for those of you who don't know, Cincinnati got their asses kicked, and so did Michigan. Georgia beat the piss out of Michigan, and Alabama beat the piss out of Cincinnati. Like every rational person knows would have happened. It was great for me because I hate Michigan. Cincinnati I don't care about. They didn't belong there. But I we might as well go back to BCS, man. Again, the two best teams are going to play each other. They just had to play an extra game against people who suck. Sorry if your kids are still here. So if you're sorry, but yeah, I mean, fuck. Michigan had no business being in that game. Cincinnati had no business being in that game. And the college football playoff committee, which they never will because they're all morons, need to stop looking at win-loss record to an extent. Okay, win-loss record in the Big Ten doesn't mean dick all, or it means dick all. Okay, if you're in the Big Ten, you play shitty teams always. So if you're 11-0 in the Big Ten, you're like 5-5 in a good conference. You suck. Oh, what about Ohio State? Ohio State sucks. Okay, Utah was told at halftime to throw that game, and they did because they wanted to get paid. That's what happened. And if you disagree, you're either an Ohio State fan or a fucking moron. But Michigan had no business playing Georgia, and it was 3-50. Oh, Michigan scored 10 points, I think, or something. Maybe 13. No, they didn't. That was garbage time. That doesn't count. If points mattered, Michigan would have scored 0 points. They don't belong there. Jesus, put a 10-3 SEC team up there and it would have been a better game. And I know you're doing it for the money, but this is just getting ridiculous. This is the same thing every year. You put a Big Ten team in there who gets blown the fuck out, and I'm put Notre Dame in with the Big Ten, even though they're not, but they do play some. Okay, they get blown the fuck out in the semifinals, and then the two best teams play each other, and it's a decent game. And expanding it won't help. Because there's no way that if it was flipped and like Cincy had to play Georgia and Alabama had to play Michigan, they would have been any different. Okay, they would have destroyed them either way because those teams don't belong there. Yeah, Michigan doesn't belong anywhere except maybe in the Mountain West. And you guys know I'm Pac-12 guy, but the fucking Utah, hung with arguably one of the best teams in the Big Ten until they were told to lose for ratings. And they obliged because they're bitches. But that's absolutely what happened. They owned Ohio State for the first half. And then at halftime, someone went in there and be like, hey, you guys need to fucking lose. Here's some money. And they did. How to fix this? I don't know. I honestly say go back to the BCS. Let a computer figure strength of schedule. Because again, strength of schedule is not an argument anywhere except the Pac 12 and the SEC. Okay, that's it. The Big Ten has no strength of schedule. Oh, but Michigan and Ohio State had to play two shitty teams playing each other. Of course, this is a good game. If you have two, division or single A high school teams playing each other out on the farm in fucking eastern Colorado, yeah, it'll be a close, good game because they're evenly matched, but they still suck. If they have to go play a 5A team, they're gonna get fucking destroyed. And that's exactly what happens with every Big Ten school. Oh, but Ohio State won a couple times. Okay. Not enough to make them relevant. Not enough to give them power rankings every year in the face of obvious. It sucks. As for the Alabama Georgia game, if you can't tell, I fucking hate Ohio State and Michigan. And I'm not sure that I hate the teams as much as I hate their fans. Like they're a collection of the most delusional people in the world. And I don't hear from the players and the coaches that often because players and coaches. You hear from the fans more, like on Twitter or my PT people, like the guy who owns it. He's Michigan all the way, and he hid from me on Tuesday. I think he did. He didn't want to talk back. And I know what he would say. He's like, we just didn't play well. No, man, you didn't belong there. They were so much better than you, it's not even funny. So yeah, I don't know. We had a drop. Okay, so when it comes to the Michigan, not the Michigan, but the hold on, I'm just trying to clear some of these comments. Some shitty ones that are like, no one can understand them. Okay, so when it comes to like the Alabama Georgia game, Alabama by, or no, I'm sorry, Georgia by 7. Lock it in. Make your bets. Uh, Georgia's defense is just too good. So that's what's going to happen. And I don't know, will we have a podcast? No, we will not have one before that. We'll have one the night after. We might have a stream. No, we won't stream that Monday because I'll be watching the national championship. But hey, that's all for me. I have no more energy left tonight for this. Not sure I'm gonna game. We'll see. We'll see how I feel. But right now we're just gonna sign off of the podcast. I appreciate everyone who watched and will watch later and will listen later, all that. Do yourself a favor, help me help you, follow the socials. If you don't like what I say, speak up. I'd love to have you on. I'd love to have, and it will be civil. I'm still looking for my liberal. But yeah, hit the socials at Dutch and Beast, at Dutch and Denver on Twitter. No I. Everywhere else it is Dutch and Denver with an I. Anchor.fm/Dutch and Denver, YouTube Dutch and Denver, iTunes Dutch, everywhere Dutch and Denver. Um, you buy some merch, that'd be cool. You do all that kind of fun stuff. You don't actually have to donate unless you really want to. We could buy some more cool stuff. I don't know. I don't know how that works. Nobody ever does it. Maybe it's because I'm not cool. Maybe because I rant about random shit. Okay. Hey, until next time, I appreciate it. As always, I will talk to y'all later. Bye.